Welcome back, everyone. This is Ben here, and this is just going to be a quick podcast, just kind of talking about what happened uh, with Michigan basketball today. It was a tough one today. Disappointing loss for a bunch of reasons, but we'll delve into that. Just wanted to make a quick recap video for you guys, so let's get into it now. And we have the box score of the game here. Obviously, the final score was not pretty, but I don't think that really encapsulates what really happened. I think that this was a closer game than that 18-point margin suggests. But I do think that Michigan was very, very sloppy. The turnovers, oh my gosh, look at this. So, Isaiah Livers, 2 turnovers. Hunter Dickinson, 5 turnovers. Chauncey Brown and Mike Smith, each with 3 turnovers, and the bench combined for 5 turnovers as well. So that all added up, obviously. That 19 turnovers in this game, and just shots not falling either. 3-point field goals. Isaiah Livers was all right, but everyone else really struggled. And I'm going to note, before I get any further with individual stats, Michigan was missing Eli Brooks today, our starting shooting guard, who is normally a nice defensive presence and a stabilizing player. When Michigan's kind of struggling to create offense or getting a little sloppy with the ball, Eli Brooks is able to calm things down for us. But unfortunately today he was out with a strained right foot, is what the news broke about 20 minutes before game time. So that's unfortunate for Michigan. Hopefully he's able to play in a few days against Maryland. But for now, for this game, we had to play without him, and Michigan did not look good without him. Let's look at some team stats here if we can. Chromebook's a little slow, but so yeah, this kind of sums up the game. Field goal percentage, disgusting for Michigan, below 40%. 3-point percentage was at 27%, and that improved in the final few minutes as we hit a few garbage time jumpers. Free throws were not falling, only 50% on those, and we out-rebounded them, but had much fewer assists. And defensively, they had 12 steals. Minnesota had 12 steals. Obviously, turnovers, 20 turnovers, fouls, fine, and never had a lead the entire game. Michigan did not lead once. Really disappointing stuff there. Now, Liam Robbins in the prior game against Michigan was held to 5 points by Hunter Dickinson, but he completely reversed that this game. Really played so well. I was really impressed by not only his inside ability, but his outside ability. Finished with 3 threes on only 3 attempts, which is tough to do as a center. I mean, that's impressive shooting for anyone, especially a center. He could stretch the floor. 22 points on the game, 2 blocks, 2 steals, 8 rebounds. Just an all-around well-played game from him. And obviously Marcus Carr, Minnesota's electric guard, put up good numbers too, although on less efficient shooting. Now, the Minnesota bench didn't really do much. The Michigan bench was non-existent for the most part, with the exception of Austin Davis. And that's something that's going to be a problem for Michigan going forward. Just not a lot of talent on this bench. And it will be a problem. It will be something that will hurt Michigan if there are grind-out games where we get in foul trouble and need to turn to someone and there's no one to turn to. Obviously, without Eli Brooks, one less piece of the core of the team. Sorry about that. Let's pause that. Yeah, without Eli Brooks today, our lack of depth was exposed, and it really hurt Michigan today. Chauncey Brown filled in admirably, I'd say, trying his best on defense with Marcus Carr and putting up 14 points, but it wasn't enough considering the rest of the team really just put up duds of a game. Mike Smith didn't score a point. Franz Wagner only got going late when it was pretty much all but over. And Hunter Dickinson was not his usual self inside. Even though he was 4 for 5, he only hit 1 out of 3 free throws, and he was a mess, turning the ball over 5 times, really struggling with the double team that Minnesota was throwing his way. I think that teams in the future against Michigan will try to employ the same strategy Minnesota had this game, which was to play hard man-to-man except for a double on Hunter Dickinson. And the double on Hunter Dickinson, when they would flash down that strong side wing and dare Hunter to try to pass it over the top of the defense, which he struggled to do today. I think that's probably going to be a strategy that is going to happen against Michigan. Now, last thing I'm going to talk about here, what I think will happen with Michigan's standings or ranking in the AP poll. I think Michigan had been underranked at number 7, especially after that dominant win against Wisconsin earlier this week. And I do think Michigan should jump a spot or two, but obviously not to number 3 in the country with this loss. Number 3 in the country is too high for a team that did just get pretty soundly beaten, albeit on the road against a top 25 team, but still pretty unacceptable loss for a top 3 team. So I do think Michigan should fill in right at 5 or 6 in the country as of the tomorrow's or Monday's AP poll when that is released. So yeah, tough one today. This happens. We're in the Big Ten. I'm seeing some comments saying Michigan's trash. All-American with 9 points. Yeah, I agree. It was a tough game, but that happens. And I see another comment saying number 3 isn't too high for a small school in Philly. I disagree. Villanova has only played 9 games, hasn't played in over a month, and lost pretty soundly to Virginia Tech, who is a good team, not a great team in my opinion. So Villanova hasn't done enough to merit their number 3 ranking. I think that they will keep that ranking based off of other teams' losses. But I do think that Michigan has still shown a better body of work through this start of this year. And one loss, pretty bad loss, but it's not the end of the world. And the Big Ten's a rough conference to play in. Michigan had done a great job of avoiding any pitfalls so far, but you're going to run into bad games, and Michigan had a really bad game today. Missing Eli Brooks, I'll say it one more time, one of our go-to players. So it's a tough one, and it will cost us in the rankings-wise. I mean, I think Michigan would have jumped to number 3 in the country if they'd won this game, but they didn't. So, tough loss. Minnesota's a great team. I think they deserve to be in the top 20, maybe top 15. The Big Ten is a brute, and that's going to be that, guys. Thanks for watching. If you like Michigan, drop a like on this video, and stay tuned because Brad, I'm sure, is going to come out with more Notre Dame recruiting stuff in the future.